With their custom-dyed colorful fabrics and hand-painted shoes, Cirque du Soleil has captivated millions of audiences across the globe. Their new show, Quidam, will be moving from the Big Top to Baltimore's First Mariner Arena. And joining us today is one of their performers, Adrienne Banerjee and Frances Halbert, Assistant PR Manager, Arena Shows. Also, Dr. Cecilia Brennicke, Medical Director from Johns Hopkins at Greenspring, is here to dispel some misconceptions about mammograms. And later, Baltimore's rich history has been tainted by a rash of violent crime. So what can we do to make our city better? April Yvonne Garrett from Civic Frame has just the answer. I'm Sarah Caldwell. All this and more on this edition of 11 TV Hill. From dancing to acrobatics, skipping is one of the featured acts at Cirque du Soleil's Quidam. Hungarian performer Adrienne Banerjee is one of the masters of skipping. She's here to tell us about her role in Quidam, as well as Frances Halbert, Assistant PR Manager. Welcome to both of you. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
This is exciting to have you in Baltimore. Of course, Cirque du Soleil has been very popular here. Tell us about your role. Skipping is an interesting talent, and it's jump rope, basically.
Yeah, basically that's what people think of when they first hear it, that it's coming from the playground, which is a little bit true, but it's very advanced. So what we do in the show, it's an individual solo skipping, kind of, but it's incorporated with a group. Lots of acrobatics, different tricks, high energy, very nice music. Almost like 20 people involved, so it's a lot of things going on the stage.
How do you master something like that? Where did you get your start?
I started in Hungary. That's where I'm originally from. So my background is 18 years of skipping, also, like lots of competitions behind performing. But when you join Cirque du Soleil, you have to kind of retrain yourself because it's very different from competitions. You have to learn how to perform, how to communicate with the public. So you bring out a different side of yourself.
Talk to us about, Frances, finding the talent and how you've incorporated many different ways of doing that, YouTube being one of them, and Adrienne is on YouTube, so it's interesting how wide that stretches.
Yeah, exactly, because right now we have 1,300 artists in Cirque du Soleil because we have 22 different shows. So you know, it's a lot of artists that we have to find, and they're the best of the best at what they do. So you know, you have a team of 20 casting scouts in Montreal that travel the world to find the best talents. But now YouTube is there, so it's easier, you know, to find some talent. You know, I don't know, you're looking for skippers, you write skippers, and it's easier. So we're using social medias a lot, but still people have to like send a video demo and do an audition because we want to see how they can react to different things. So like in the audition, they will have to perform the act, but maybe we'll ask them, okay, climb a rope and sing at the top of the rope, just to see how they react to different stuff.
I had to do that. I had to do that.
So you know, it's really how to see like how they're comfortable, and also we ask them to play a character, and it will be like, okay, play Joy, so be Joy for a moment. So it's really, you know, it's interesting for them as well to become an artist.
So you never quite know what to expect when it comes to an audition like that.
When you go to an audition, they don't tell you. Like, of course, you know that you have to do something with your skipping rope if you are a skipper.
Sure.
But of course, they test your flexibility, your strength. I did have to do that. I had to climb up to the top of the rope and start to sing. It's a funny thing to do. Anyway, it was a surprise. I didn't expect that. But of course, they're testing your acting skills, how you would look on stage, what kind of character you might be good for. It's very interesting.
Tell us about the show itself and what people can expect to see.
In Quidam, you can. It really connects to the real world. It's about a young girl who is looking for some adventure in her life because she's kind of bored and ignored by her parents. So she's going to different adventures, but it's like you can feel the reality at the same time as the magic as well.
And how does Adrienne's role get incorporated into this show?
Well, Adrienne isn't part of the skipping act, so basically it's like a fun act that talks a little bit about the innocence of childhood, but also Adrienne, you know, and all our artists, they do different cues during the show that we call. So she'll be playing other characters during the show, like at some point she's the mother character or other characters. But this show is quite interesting. It has a lot of urban influences, and also like the artists on stage, instead of playing like fanciful characters, they get to play real humans. So it's interesting for the audience members because they get to connect with them and feel their emotions as well.
Adrienne, what's touring life like?
It's a special lifestyle because in Cirque we kind of stay together, live together, work together, eat together, so everything is like connected to each other. But it's a lot of traveling because in Arena Tour we change the cities every week. So you have to adjust to the new environment. We always have to train in the first few days to get used to the new place, the new arena. It's a lot of work for the technicians because they always have to load in things, build the stage, build everything up, so the next day we can perform.
And these are very elaborate shows, are they not?
Exactly.
Definitely, yeah. So it's not only just putting there or something, but there are a lot of lights, the music, everything backstage for the artists because we always have to get ready to warm up. There's a little gym, physiotherapy, wardrobe, catering. So it's a lot of different
So at every
fields.
location you have to have all those elements.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just a circus, you know, it's an entertainment experience, I would say, because you have live music, amazing costumes, lighting, set design, and yes, there are amazing people doing talented stuff, but if you like humor, we have a clown that is not your typical clown, and you know, people flying above you, coming next to you, you can even end up on the stage because there's a lot of audience participation.
What do you like most about doing this show? You've done other shows in the past.
I definitely like the skipping for sure, but I really like the music of the show.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of a live concert also, so you can experience a different piece of art also, not only just the gymnastic part of the show. I really like the banking act. It's full of acrobatics. Sometimes the people like grab onto the chair because they're like, oh, what's going to happen? And then you see them, the clown act, laughing.
Are you able to see the audience much and their reaction?
Of course, when you are on stage, you have to watch, you have to have a contact with the audience. Well, when I'm on stage, I have the chance, but unfortunately, I don't have this chance when there are like other acts going on. But yeah, you feel the reaction. And normally, the energy, what you give, it returns, it comes back.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing the show. Thank you so much for joining us. It sounds like it's going to be great. Good luck to you and your performances.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you'll be well received here in Baltimore. We appreciate your time. You can see Kidam at the First Mariner Arena from August 24th through August 28th and visit Ticketmaster.com to purchase tickets. Coming up, we're going to switch gears. If you're unsure about all the info that's out there regarding mammograms, we're going to break it down. We'll hear from Dr. Cecilia Brennick about some of the misconceptions. Stay with us. You're watching 11 TV Hill. Amazing. Wow, it's incredible. Breast cancer is one of the leading causes of death in women. Even as recent as the last few weeks, you may have heard the debate about the effectiveness of screenings. Dr. Cecilia Brennick, medical director at Johns Hopkins at Greenspring, is here to dispel some of those myths that we've heard about mammograms. Welcome, Dr. Brennick. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Yeah, we've heard a lot of buzz lately about mammograms. What is that all about?
There'll be a lot of controversy about mammography always, and I think that's because breast cancer is such a common problem and women are nervous about it, they're afraid. So there have been very recent data coming out actually from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Their governing body has cemented the role that mammography plays in women starting at 40. So women starting at 40 should have an annual mammogram according to many different sources, the American Cancer Society, the radiology people, of course, that would make sense, but also the obstetricians and gynecologists. So everyone is now getting behind annual mammograms starting at 40.
Okay, which is amazing because it used to be 50 and, you know, we thought we had tons of time and a lot of people just didn't do it because of all of the pain that they heard that was associated with it.
Right.
So talk about how the technology has evolved.
Sure. Well, there's now most sites across the country, particularly here in Baltimore, are doing what's called digital mammography. The digital image is much easier for us to interpret. There's much more information than there was with film. It's easier to make the image, it's easier to store the image, and for the women, I think it is a little easier to actually have the mammogram done. There's still compression, but it's something that we have to compress the breast. It doesn't really hurt. There's some tightness, there is compression, but it's something that's very, very quick. It's a matter of a second, you know, or two, so to get the images.
What are some of the other myths that you're hearing when you talk to women?
Well, one thing is that starting at 50, people think I've got some time, when actually what we know is that 1 in 6 breast cancers occurs between 40 and 50. We do not want to lose those women who are in their 40s because the cancer can be much more aggressive in your 40s when you're younger.
Yeah, I was going to say it must be much easier to cure and to diagnose when it's early on.
Exactly. So the whole thing about mammography is not to prevent. We can't prevent breast cancer by doing the mammogram. We hope to catch it early detection. Then you have many more choices. You have a much longer life survival. We don't have years of life lost to breast cancer, and you have much more options of how your treatment is going to go.
Does this mean we shouldn't be doing self-exams, or is that still something we should really pay attention to?
That's an interesting thing that's come out about self-exams. Some women are very nervous about doing their self-exam. They're finding lumps all the time, and those women are not all that well served with self-exam. And so what's been promoted lately is something called self-awareness. So if you're just aware, and I like that with women too, when I see women every day, I say, just be aware of what's going on. If you think there's a change, bring it in. Tell us about it. If you think, no, I'm always like this is okay, this is what I feel like. So it's just better to be aware of what your breasts normally feel like.
And when you are doing a self-exam, what exactly are the red flags that you should be looking for?
Well, mainly it's something that it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with pain. So pain is usually not a factor with breast cancer. Breasts normally hurt, unfortunately, and they're normally lumpy, which is also unfortunate. But if you feel something that just feels different to you, you think, I have a sinking feeling about this, I have a uh-oh, this doesn't feel right, then pay attention to that instinct. Just obey your instincts. You're feeling for something that feels hard, that's not necessarily moving around in the breast. Sometimes things that are cysts or normal lumpy breast tissue, well, you can sort of push it around. If you can't push it around, it seems fixed and very hard, then I want to see you.
Okay. And how about women that have implants? Are they able to feel the same things that you would normally?
Yeah. And actually the implant sits sort of behind the breast tissue. The breast is sort of layered over it. So it's much easier actually to do a self-exam with implants.
Okay. What are some of the treatments? How far has that side of it come?
A long way. Yeah, treatment has come a long way. Now my business is diagnosis. I'm the detector.
Okay.
I'm really not the treatment person, so I'm sort of speaking on the side. But it's come a long, long way. So people even with advanced disease can be treated early on with chemotherapy and have a much better lifespan because of the treatments.
Okay. What else do you think is really important to get out there at this time?
I think it's basically important not to be afraid of early detection. We can pick up cancer on a mammogram 3 years before you can feel it. So the main thing is to go out there and get it, and just do it once a year. Make it on your calendar, go on your birthday, go something where you can remember to do it. You see your clinician once a year or up to once every 3 years for a clinical breast exam, a professional breast exam. And then just don't be afraid of something that you're finding. Come on in and let's check it out.
Right, it's better to know.
It's better to know. It's better to know early.
And what if it's a hereditary thing in your family and you're concerned that you're going to be one as well that's affected by it? Do you start earlier than 40? What would you recommend? It
depends on the age of the people in your family. So the first thing to know is that about 75% or 3/4 of women who are diagnosed with breast cancer have no family history. So it's a huge number. Yeah. But if you do have a family history, you need to know how old those women were if they were first-degree relatives. So if it's your mother, your sister, or even your daughter, those people are meaning that you're going to have a higher risk than if it's your great-grandmother, if it's your great-aunt. Those people probably are not going to affect your rate of cancer.
Okay.
So if a first-degree relative, mother, sister, daughter, had breast cancer early, then you want to start checking 10 years before they were diagnosed.
Okay.
If they were diagnosed at 40, you're going to start at 30.
Okay. Tell us about where you are at Green Spring, right?
Right.
And you also want to give a website?
Sure. There's a website that is a national website called mammography-saves-lives.org.
Okay.
And that's a very good website. It's very easily, you can understand what's on the website. It's very easily approachable. It's got a lot of good information.
So if you have some questions about yourself, you can probably get them answered there.
Exactly.
Okay, excellent. And of course, they can call you.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Well, stay with us when we return. What can we do to make Baltimore better? We'll talk to April Garrett, founder and president of Civic Frame. Don't go away. She's got some great ideas about ways to make some positive changes in our city. You're watching 11 TV Hill. In the past few weeks, crime has dominated Baltimore's headlines. So what can we do to make Baltimore better? Yvonne Garrett, founder and president of Civic, is here to share some of her ideas with us. Welcome, April. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
This is a great topic because we really do need to start thinking positively about our city and what we can do to be a part of that, right?
Absolutely. I'm a Baltimore native, so I have an incredible love for Baltimore. And it does pain me sometimes when I hear about the citizens of Baltimore talking about the city in ways that are very damaging. And I think that we could really retool our language and retool our actions to make the city better.
Yeah. Now, you went away for a little while. You came back and you were kind of like, what happened?
Right.
What did you see that was different after those years that you were away?
You know, I grew up in a very vibrant city. I was a working class kid from Westport in Northeast Baltimore. But I was afforded a lot of opportunities in this space. I had a diversity of friends and a diversity of civic activities that I was engaged in, and I was excited about that. That gave me a perspective that I could leave from Baltimore and do anything in the world and be successful. And when I decided to come back, I saw a little bit of that go away, and the sensibility about who we were as a people and the accessibility for folks who were from my same background. And so I was really concerned with the fact that I had gone away and went to Kenyon and Columbia and Harvard and came back thinking that I want people in my same community of origin to feel like they have these opportunities, but also to feel like they have a place in Baltimore City where they can come back and make whatever contributions they want to the city. So
that's what sparked Civic Frame.
Absolutely.
And tell us more about what it is you guys do.
So Civic Frame is a national nonprofit organization that's based in Baltimore. It came out of my desire to have very vibrant conversations about social issues that we all face in communities around the country, be they urban or rural, actually having the people in those cities be agents of change and making their communities better. So instead of having these really complex, hoity-toity conversations about social issues, I wanted to make it accessible. So we use a lot of art and documentary film to make that information accessible. But then we also expose them to the people in the areas where they're from. So if it's a program in Baltimore, we're exposing you directly with the folks who are having an impact on those issues, organizations, individuals, activists who are doing work in these communities. They're showing you what they're up to and engaging you and saying this is a way you can be a part of the solution. So it's very, very powerful to kind of see it from a documentary perspective, so you're kind of getting fact-based information so you can contextualize it, but you get to see people who are in your community actually doing that work and get to connect powerfully with those organizations so you can become an agent of change.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about connecting the older generation that really understands the history of our city to the younger ones that don't quite have the same understanding. Why is that important?
I think it's important because I think I have a lot of friends who are from, Baltimore, and then I have a lot of friends who are not from Baltimore, and there seems to be sort of a clash. The newer folks have all of these ideas, innovations, best practices from other areas, and they're absolutely wonderful. But there's a history in Baltimore where we have, vibrant elders who had a vision for the city and made it a wonderful place for people to land. So I think if the two of those groups could get together, where we have a really rich understanding and respect for the history of the city while being open to the innovation, I think we could really do amazing things to make Baltimore better.
A lot of people talk about our city who have never been here because they've seen The Wire.
Yes.
And that had a good and a bad impact on us.
Sure.
How do you think we can work to change that stigma?
The Wire is interesting because I think The Wire was good at being descriptive about issues that you face in any city, in any urban area. How it got codified as only Baltimore, and that's all Baltimore is a little distressing to me. And so I think that there are ways in which that show could be used in a prescriptive way where folks can say, okay, this is our particular issue that we're facing, but guess what? There are 50 billion people in Baltimore who are really committed to these issues and really committed to making it better. So part of my work with Civic Frame, we launched Amplify Baltimore. I'm excited about that series of conversations and a TV show where we're going to be talking about here are some of the issues we face as a city. But guess what? Here are some of the people, entities, organizations that are engaged in this work every day. This is what they're doing to make these particular situations better. And more importantly, this is how you can become involved in those organizations and make Baltimore better as well.
And a lot of it starts with the young people and getting them engaged again in doing positive things for the city. How do you propose to do that?
Well, I think the elders have to believe that the young people are capable. We have to give them opportunities to show that they're brilliant. I got 50 billion opportunities when I was younger with a lisp and a jerry curl. I was really awkward, right? But I got all kinds of opportunities in student government, working on political campaigns. I'm doing programs at the Pratt Library, which has got to be the best library in the country. I'm very biased. I love Carla Hayden and their staff. But I had opportunities. I had people at my church. I had civic leaders who said, you can do better. We can give you opportunities. So I think that it's our job to do the same things that were done for us. And so creating a space for them to feel that they can learn, they can make some mistakes, and that we'll give them, you know, kind guidance and correction is super important. But we also understand that their goals and their desires are a little bit different from ours, and to be a little bit patient with that as well.
Sure. So what is your hope for Baltimore?
I hope that Baltimore begins to change the language it has about itself, that Baltimoreans understand that we create the city that we want by every action and every choice that we make. So if we want to see a better Baltimore, instead of saying, oh, these are the issues that we have with the city and this is what's wrong with the city, to say, these are the 3 things that I love about Baltimore. These are the 3 things that I'm going to be committed to doing to make this city better. If I'm from Roland Park, I have these resources, and so I'm going to put these resources to work. If I'm from Westport, these are a different set of resources, but I have the human capital where I can talk to the people in my community and in my neighborhood and make things better. Pick up the phone, call people randomly. I do it all the time. That's how people come and do these programs. They don't necessarily know me.
Get involved.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised if you call the state's attorney or the police commissioner and said, we're having a cookout. We want to talk to you about issues of crime. We're having, you know, we're having a church picnic. Could you come by and just say hi and talk to the people? These folks come out. I've seen it. They've done it with me. And so I think we're lucky because we do have civic leaders who are really, really accessible and really want to see the city move into a different place and to be better. So I'm all about amplifying Baltimore, and I'm all about working with people who have those clear intentions to do so as well.
Well, it's a great message. I think we need to hear more of that. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having
me. Pleasure to meet you.
You as well.
Don't go away. You're watching 11 TV Hill. Thank you so much for watching 11 TV Hill. If you'd like information about today's segment, simply visit our website, WBALTV.com. And as always, stay tuned to the news that's live, local, and late breaking. I'm Sarah Caldwell. Have a great day.